we doing?
How's Yelm?
Yes, yeah. Yeah.
What's the matter, kid?
It's Yelm. That's what's the matter.
We may be getting nearly 50-mile-an-hour gusts tonight. Every time you guys go to Yelm, we get a windstorm.
Got Legos.
Okay.
It's my consolation prize for going to Yelm.
I'm happy for you.
Thanks.
You get anything sorted? Well, I mean, I could. That's more like it. That's cute. Only so much, though.
That's a good sound.
It do, don't it? Acoustic, you say? Whoa. Loud, sorry. Acoustic, you say? Let's let's grab one. What you got? Oh, what am I playing? This is a Charvel, and I can't think of the exact model right now, but I'm pretty sure that 2 and H are going to be involved with that. Nice to see you again, man, by the way. Let's see. I can tell you everything about it except for the model name. Isn't that funny? But it's dinky, essentially, so I'm thinking DKH2 or DK2H or something like that. Doesn't have stainless steel frets. Probably the only kind of, detrimental factor to some people. It's got real Duncans, but, a slightly different look. I've got my cat coming up here to say hello. And it's got this nice little switch here. It's not quite split coil. It's phase switch. So, you can do special sounds. It's almost like 2 different modes. Or... So you want to get an acoustic electric that you don't want to record with a mic. Why don't you want to record with a mic? Mics are the best. See, that's the sound. Well, nevertheless, I won't try to convince you if you've already got your mind made up. I like Breedloves a lot. They play very nicely. They're not incredibly expensive. They can be expensive, but they're not very expensive generally. My little Voyager Traveler over here. Where are you? You're right there. That was like $400. So external sounds can get in. So you want to make sure that you have a gate on your signal, and that will help external sounds not get in. And if you don't live in the quietest place, I understand, it may just not be a possibility, but it always sounds better. Microphones sound better than Piezo. All Piezos kind of sound the same. Let me trade off here. Go with this. Here we are. But I used to own, and I still know the guy that does own, a Yamaha. That was like $350 a couple of decades ago, a decade at least, and it had a nice preamp in it, and it did sound pretty decent when it was plugged in. It sounded like Piezo, like everything else sounds like Piezo, but there you go. You don't have a padded room or a studio? Well, I just live in a house, and one of the reasons why I called tonight's stream the Quiet Stream was essentially because I was expecting, and they showed up, my daughter and son-in-law. So I'm just going to be quiet and be playful being quiet. Let's go look at some stuff. I'm not sure where your location is exactly, but I'm going to show you some stuff. Oh yeah, well we can talk about some of this stuff too, but not sure. Well, this isn't full size. That's the neat part. The Breedlove Discovery series, is what I believe this is a 23 3/4 inch scale guitar. So scale length being here to here. Yeah. Well, it's not all it's cracked up to be, man. Single cuts, you're still going to run into the body, and here, I can almost guarantee you'll never be playing it up there. I can't guarantee that. I'm not you, but I can almost guarantee it. I've had cutaways before, and I still wind up never playing over the 12th fret. It's just not what these are built for. They may have them, frets up here, but it's just not what it's for. So let's go ahead and share some screens and talk about not this, but let's go to Sweetwater. Everybody knows about Sweetwater. Not an endorsement, but I like them. I have a package that should be delivered soon. It was supposed to be delivered soon. Let's see here. Let's go to Breedlove. Let's see if they also have Yamaha. Because, again, Yamaha, pretty good. So, and we want an acoustic electric one. So let's acoustic electric guitar. All right, all of these can be plugged in. I like sorting from low to high. That's high to low. Whoopsie. Let's, oh, dang it. The other way, the other way. So. Hey, how you doing? It's been a long time. I haven't seen you around in a bit. Let's see. So here we go. $500, $10.61 a month for a special 48-month financing. But you'll have a little preamp in here, and I'm not sure if the plug is back in the back. Oh no, it's right there. Hey, a convenient location for the battery as well. So there you go. You want my recommendation? It's essentially this, but let's see what the scale length is on this guy. And these play very well. The Yamaha also plays very well that I was mentioning before, so, and it's probably about $100 cheaper than this. So I don't care about sustainability. No, its scale length is normal, 25.5. So let's. Well, no, if it's a battery that powers the piezo and the tuner and all the other stuff that you're going to get in there. So most of these things come with an electronics package, and that's what you're seeing here. Let's see if we can find a nice photo of it. Shall we? There we are. So what you got right there is a tuner, a contour, phase, and volume. So yes, this is it's a active preamp system. So, and you're going to need that whenever you have a acoustic electric amplifier, or excuse me, acoustic electric guitar. So there's always a battery. Well, the battery is for the preamp. You will always have a battery for that. So let's see. Here's a Discovery. That's nylon string. That's nylon as well. Now, I like a nylon string. I like a nylon string a lot. I have 3 of them. Personally, I have 2, but then I have a gift from my friend Stu that is awesome. So let's see here. Let's narrow this down further, shall we? Scale length. Let's do 23.5. There's 8 of them. So, you know, we're going to get a steel string in there somewhere. All the way up to $7,200. Wow. Holy cow. $800 and all that kind of stuff. Let's look for Yamaha. Let's see if they got Yamaha. If they don't, I know another company that will. So, Yamaha acoustic guitars. Yeah. But I like Breedloves, man. These things are great. Very, very nice. They play well. They have a nice sound to them. See what I mean? Miking this thing is a dear, dear deal. I'm telling you, it's the microphone. So, any thoughts on this? Yes, sounding amazing. Absolutely. Let me switch up. You want to see a kid's guitar? I have one of those lying around. I'm just not sure exactly where it is, but let me see if I can find it. Ah! It's hiding behind all the other instruments behind me. I knew I had one. I've played it before. There we go. There we are. Well, maybe. Give me a second while I'm digging here. All right. Now, as you can see, this is not your standard full-sized guitar. It's lovely. It's some people call it a guitarlele, but technically it's a piccolo guitar. Oh, you have written many things. Let me see if I can parse that and go through it. In the meantime, let me grab my my electric back, setting it to a different sound, and moseying along with that. All right. Where to begin? So let's see here. Vanoga Acoustic Electric Guitar Bundle for beginners, adults, teens, full-size cutaway. Full size indicates at least a 25.5-inch scale length. Well, it may be for kids, but I do use it for getting really, really high notes. Hi, Stu. I'm sorry. This is more like the librarian stream where I have to be very quiet. Allow me to go ahead and use my voice in a quiet fashion, like the kind that you would hear on NPR, also known as No Personality Radio, or National Propaganda Radio, depending on your proclivity. Mine happens to side with both of those assessments. Anyway, going on with the story, here we have some Yamahas. Yes. Nice to see you, Stu. So, this guitar. Okay, so you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and find it so we can clarify, because I forget the model number or the model name for this. But it's essentially like a Charvel DK2H or DKH2, something like that. So let's find it. They don't make it in this color anymore, which is one of the reasons why I was really desirous of the thing. Oh, I'm sorry, I lost my voice. I have to talk like this. My apologies. Quiet stream, after all. So let's see here. Yeah, solid body electrics. And we'll get back to the Yamahas in just 2 seconds. Well, maybe just a little bit longer than that, but not by much. More options. Charvel. Actually, there's a really nifty thing that should be arriving shortly. Let me go ahead and do a quick check and make sure that I'm not wrong, that shortly is going to be tomorrow and not today, which sucks because it was going to arrive Wednesday. And then suddenly they changed it to, it's arriving today. And then I looked later and it was like, we don't know when it's going to be delivered, but it's in DuPont. So is it a guitar? No, it's not a guitar. Yeah, this is essentially it. DK24HH. Well, there are 2 H's in it now, aren't there? So, yeah, that's essentially this. And I did not get that for that price. I got this used. I did have to fix it up a little bit, but I got it for a trade plus a couple $100. So it's a nice guitar. It does, for the most part, do everything that I would like a guitar to do. I think the only way I could improve it is to probably put stainless steel frets in it, but so I'd never have to do a fret job again in my life. So, yeah. But on with the show. Let me see my order status here, or checking the order history. Not, of course, on this, but on a different browser on a different screen. Going back to here, and that's most popular. Let's go low to high, and let's specify steel strings. Actually, let's not specify that. The reason why is because I'm not sure that you want a steel string or a nylon string. Oh yeah, they removed the date. It's on the way, and it's in DuPont, which is about 34 miles from my house. That's very, very discouraging. We're getting a windstorm tonight. Gusts possibly up to 50. Quite phenomenal. Oh, look, here's a 3/4 size thin line cutaway, natural spruce, blah, blah, blah. I've played one of these at my local music store, Music 6000. It would have been this exact model here. And you know what? It sounds good and it plays well. It's not as full sounding as a full size acoustic, but it's a nice guitar. I don't, or I wouldn't, let me say it that way. I wouldn't disparage you if that's, oh, you don't know the difference? But here's the thing, but you do. And, well, Dreadnought is, yeah, it's because it was named after a ship. All right, so let me show you the difference between steel strings and nylon. I'm happy to do this, by the way. Steel strings are, like they say, steel, but they're not all steel. We're talking about filament core for the there's wrap wire over this. This is bronze mostly, so it's like a copper nickel mix. And these are steel, plain steel. you will hear this, and you will have that sound, okay? Just being playful. Either way, a lot of this doesn't really want to come out very well. Let me grab an acoustic. Nylon string. So that's steel. The nylon string would be... here we go. I move the tambourine for this. Wow. Nylon strings are made of nylon. Ha! Surprise! And it's out of tune. But, so if I said a classical guitar, I should have done that in the first place. There we go. Okay, so this is a Hernandez. I got this, I guess for my 10th wedding anniversary, roughly. No, 10th? 6th wedding anniversary. But, if, there's so much dust. I don't play these very often, but when I do, I mainly play the one that Stu gave me. So, well, sure. It's all about what kind of sounds you want to hear, though. If you wanted to hear something that's more like a, flamenco with no nails, or that kind of thing with the... If you wanted to hear more stuff like that, this is the way to go. If you wanted to hear more stuff like, maybe Hart's Silver Wheels, or, I guess most, radio-friendly AOR stuff with acoustics in it, it'll probably be your steel string. So the 3/4 size seems big enough. Probably is. Oh, these? Well, they are of Spanish design. That's where they came from. There's two main types of guitars that survived past 1900 to become the most well-known type of guitars that we have today. Friction pegs, by the way, is one of the main reasons why the holes are like that. But not all of them that were contemporary to Segovia, for instance, are like that. If you take a look at the designs of the maker Hauser, for instance, he had rudimentary tuners and also friction pegs in some of them that went through a flat headstock without any routes in it, for instance. This, though, is to keep the strings pretty much where they're supposed to go. So much dust. Oh my gosh. But let's go back to here. See, this would work for you. Let's see that right there. That'll work just fine for you. It'll get you in the market. It'll get you in the ballpark, and you'll be okay. But so to my understanding, why this is the way it is mostly because the tuners are, well, they were, these kind of things were designed to take the place of things like friction pegs. And if you're using a friction peg on a headstock that's kind of a paddle like this, you could use it straight up like that, sure. It would be more common to have it straight down like this, like the Lutz had. So instead of having everything in the way right there, why don't we put them here? Okay, so you have friction pegs that go in that way. These kind of tuners were designed to replace that. That's why you have it like that. I actually really find this an attractive design, by the way. So, you know, I've often thought about making an electric with, you know, kind of the holes here, but with regular tuners that will go through like such, because this is so ergonomic. You just tune. It's right there. It's all right here. You don't have to reach up and over. You don't have to reach behind or anything. It's all just right behind it. It's perfect. So you're playing. Oh no, tune. You know, playing a little bit. I don't know. I just have a lot of fun. But I love these things. And I should probably play them more often. But I always seem to wind up playing the same stuff that made me want to play in the first place, you know? Yes, I fret that chord weird. Actually, it's... But I cut my nails nowadays. I keep them pretty short for, you know, tapping purposes. But, I mean, it's not always perfect, but it does work out pretty well. Acoustic string's more expensive than electrics. It depends on what you get. And don't fall into the trap of, you can use electric strings for acoustics. Don't. You can, but the strings are really big on an acoustic because they need to be to produce volume. Now, you don't have to have a set of 13s or 14s, but a set of 12s is probably going to do you fine. That's what I have on that. So, yeah, those are that, and that's considered a light gauge. All right, get that back up over there. There we go. So, yes, let's talk about cheap pickups. Quietly. So, hello. There we are. So, I bought this long cable a while ago for two reasons. For one, it glows in the dark. Not very well. It glows in a black light much better. But, oh, it's already plugged in. That's why. Not to hear, though. That's the important one. But marginally. So, like I said, I'm not sure exactly where you're at, but it depends on what you want to buy. I hate juststrings.com. Don't use them. They're absolutely shitty. Their customer service is hit and miss at best. You can use Strings by Mail. That would be fine. Elderly Instruments is pretty good. But I have a story about Just Strings. They... website, go there, hey, buy this, get this, like, you know, buy one, get one free, great, no problem. Put it in the cart, kind of went through, saw that they took out the full amount as opposed to, something to the effect of, you know, just go through it, it's like, hey, why am I not getting what you said I would get, like the half off and whatnot? Oh, well, I'm an 80s kid, so, you know, there you go. No, I'm not a red guitar guy, but you can be, so... This is a 25-inch scale, so it's like Paul Reed Smith scale. There's no radius, dead flat. And I've mentioned this guitar before. This is probably the favorites of the ones I'll not really be selling. But you know, if I could get this mass produced, I think a lot of people would want one. It plays very well. So anyway, going on with the story, let's go back to here. Oh no, let's go back to here, and I'll show you acoustic strings. So there's two types of guitar strings on nylon string that I like a lot. The Augustines, because they're classic and they're wonderful and they always have a good sound, and they're just really good strings. I like Giannini a lot. Giannini, yeah. Those are Gianni. Now we'll find out. Acoustic strings, yes. No, you know what? We'll go to Elderly Instruments for that. But we'll spell it right. .com. So, accessories, strings. This is where it gets cool. Guitar strings. Acoustic guitar strings. And we can get really serious now. So, please do note, these are not 3-packs. $8.99, 19, 7, 19. We could do it from sort by low to high, as usual. And I do like GHS strings. Darko is basically Martin, by the way. So, there's that. And there's Martin. GHS, Ernie Ball. I'll suggest those. No, I didn't, but would you have a flood sale or a fire sale? That's a bad joke, but I think appropriate. Anyway, so yeah, there used to be an acoustic brand. I don't know if it still exists or not, but called Red guitar strings or Red brand guitar strings. They were perfect. They sounded so soulful, so good. So let's go down to classical then. So let's see, brand. The other brand I was going to talk about was Aquila. The strings I was just playing on that guitar were Aquila strings, and these are not totally inexpensive, but they sound like you're playing on a guitar that was made like 200 years ago. It is, their Nile gut is nylon, but it simulates gut strings, which never was made from cat gut, by the way. So, yeah, but this, let me turn off my flanger. There we go. Now, I'm going to assume that you can hear that all right, and that it sounds good. Let me tell you why. These pickups were $20, and you can get them for cheaper than I bought them now on Amazon. Yep, thought like I said, you hear it and it should sound good. But yeah, $20. I really love that. There is a problem with them. It's not really a problem if you're going to use them in the studio. I'm using them right now in a studio environment, and they're fine. But if you use them in a louder environment, the one thing that is kind of hit and miss with pickups at this price range is whether or not they've been wax potted. And there was no wax potting here, so they're going to be a bit microphonic. But when it comes down to, yeah, wow is right. So Amazon.com. Coil tapping? Oh, yes, we can do that too. It works. They're good. They're okay. But the suggestion would be is if you do buy these and you intend to use them in a louder environment than like a studio space, wax potting. And we could even talk about how you can go about doing wax potting, but it's actually really it's not hard. If you can wire up pickups, wax potting should be like the next thing that you learn how to do, if not before wiring up pickups. So let me find those real quick, and I'll pop them up. They're good though. I like. The older I get, the more I'm frugal, the more I'm frugal, the more I like cheap pickups. And the more I really like finding the ones that are actually worthwhile. So, I've had pretty good luck, I have to say. Not all cheap pickups are equal, but some are, and as in Animal Farm, a little bit more equal than others. So, that's something I can talk to, or at least speak to. All right, Amazon. Here we are. Are you going to have pickups for me? Yes, you are. All right. So we already know about these right here. Now you just take a look at that price. Why do we know about these? Because I bought these when these were on sale for half price. Oh, here's the neat part. You don't. So, Savannah, do you need outside, girl? You need to go out? All right. Well, I have to let my dog out, so we'll mull over this, and we'll get back to where these came from. Well, you know where they came from. We'll get back to these in a bit. Anyway, so you've heard those. No, this is called gambling. You take a chance, right? Come on, Savannah. Come on, Benny. No, frugality. Frugality is a good thing. And if you can find something that's actually good for something, like what you're doing for a price that's, very reasonable, there's no reason not to do it. So let me explain a little bit, though, about hearing pickups before you buy them. You can have an idea about the character of something based on its component parts. So like magnet types, for instance. I expect a certain character out of Alnico 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, or ceramic pickups. I can expect certain characteristics if I know the approximate winds of the thing, what the resonant peak is. It's not going to be like, is it like super high output or whatever, but more along the lines of a question of, where the resonant peak lies. And like if it's a 17K, I know it's going to be a very bright pickup. If it's going to be like an 8K, it's going to be bright, but it's not going to be like super bright, So 8K lives up here, somewhere. But 17 is like way up. I think this is 15.6 or something like that, and 14. So there you go. But also, you'll have a little bit less high end with a metal cover. You will, if it's an open coil design like this, you'll probably have a little bit more high end to it. So there's all that. The thickness of the wire. How much current is actually moving through. And keep in mind, this is a passive current creating device. You have a magnet. The most basic, thing here is there's a magnet in here surrounded by wire. And unless you're passing something through the magnetic field of that magnet, there's not going to be any electrons moving or no current or voltage or whatever through those little wires. As soon as you start moving these things around, that's picking up in here and it's driving current. So, there you go. So the components that it's going through, like 43 gauge versus 42 gauge wire, it's going to sound slightly different. Not very much, but you take less winds with a 42 gauge wire because, the lower you go in the gauge, the bigger around it is. So it takes less winds to get the same amount of bulk on a 42 gauge versus this. There's a guy, he's kind of an asshat, but there's a guy you can look up called Dylan Talks Tone. And he makes pickups and he knows pretty much everything about them. I think he used to be like an electrical engineer or something like that, but he's a guy that you can watch and actually get a really good, oh, dog wants in. That was quick. But you can get a really good notion about, what's what on guitar pickups. I learned a lot from watching him, but I also learned that he was kind of an asshat. So, there you go. Come on in, puppy. I know it's raining lots. Wet dog in the house. All right, so let me get back to what I was saying about these. But these are really good. For the price, I can recommend them even if you don't pay half price like I did when it was on sale for half off. And I just happened to need a nice set of orange pickups to make that guitar back there a little more Halloween-y. And you know what? It sounds good. You can hear it on my welcome home video. They're not, I can't say that they're Duncans, but dude, they're great. They sound good. So, let's see here. Tone Riders are another one. Those are relatively inexpensive in comparison. You can buy one Seymour Duncan for the price of 2 Tone Riders. I realize that we can buy, for the price of 1 Seymour Duncan, approximately 4 sets of these. So, well, if they're black, like this, but So let me go on to. Let's see if they have them in here. Nope, those aren't it. Nope. All right. So previously ordered. Come on, baby. Let's go. And it was a little while back. The hat that I had when I said, I have a new hat. That's in there. All right, so past year. You know, I actually think I picked them up somewhere back in March. So it'd be nice if they didn't have pages on this, though, and just loaded up the whole thing. Personal preference, of course, but it would be really nice. There they are. Yes. Not a controversial brand at all. Why buy? Ye buy? Why I buy? Don't know. But that's them. $15. So if you want a set of pickups, like I was saying, that sound pretty decent. They don't even tell you which ones. It's so cheap, it doesn't tell you which one is the bridge and which one is the neck. Okay? You have to figure it out on your own. All right, well, there's a couple of ways of doing that. The bridge pickup is going to have a shorter lead wire. The neck pickup is going to have a longer lead wire. Why? Travel time. Good. The other way you can do it is to grab your multimeter and your multimeter, or whatever you want to call it, and you can start testing the hot wires, and one on the hot lead and one on the ground, and you'll be able to tell which one has the higher output. The higher output is likely the bridge pickup. So that's that. But no, they sound pretty good. That's all right. I'll still sound better for cheaper. No, what I'm going to suggest, though, is that you can afford always to play around like this. It's, I know, I can tell. So, so the thing about these they surprised me. I'm just like, I've had a lot of really good luck with some cheap pickups. These are dirt cheap. Where are they? The ones in the, that ESP back there, the LTD M400. Those are about double the price of these per pickup, but they sound spectacular, and I'd put them up against Duncan's any day of the week. So, see, right? Yeah. Those green ones right there, I got used. They were basically a $35 set that I got for $20 because they were used. I needed to wax pot them. Once I installed them, they howled like crazy. And, like I said, hit and miss, right? But I got those in. They sound great. Those pink ones over there, those were $20 pickups. They sound great. I have no complaints whatsoever with those. But I'm finding that the older I get, Seymour Duncans are fine. I love Duncans. Love them. But if I can get Duncan equivalent for significantly less, I'll be okay with it. But, I've only heard one, maybe two, set of pickups that are on the inexpensive side of things that I would not buy again. What were they? Well, Dragonfire Fat Screamers are a little too fat for my taste. So, okay, so you're asking me how long does it take for rocks to deteriorate, essentially, because cast magnets are cast magnets. They all come from about the same source. Copper wire is going to be copper wire. It's copper. As far as like the base plates being either nickel silver or some form of bronze, like fret wire is essentially bronze, or brass. How long does it take for that to deteriorate? Insofar as I've had a set of pickups over here that I've yanked in and out of guitars. And by the way, if it shouldn't be a real concern. I'm not trying to dismiss you, completely on this, but I've never had a problem with them. They all live forever. So, I live in a pretty humid environment. It's wet Western Washington. I mean, it's raining right now, like cats and dogs out there. So, So, I'll show you the ones I wouldn't buy again. Because I've never found a use for them. They're too loud. I've had them in 2 guitars, and at both times I was disappointed enough that I just took them out, and I can't sell them. So that's something that you don't know about me, is that I have this honor code, and I'm really serious when I say, you know, I really believe like in the whole like honor system type of thing, like deeply. I will not sell something if I myself wouldn't buy it. So like this, there's sentimental reasons why I wouldn't sell this. But you know, if there was something, you know, like wrong with the guitar, congenitally wrong with something that I built, I definitely wouldn't sell it. But when it comes down to like pickups, these were Dragonfires. I've had more misses with Dragonfires than hits. And they've had the gall since 2020 to double their prices. These used to be like $30 a set. Now they're like $60 a set, and it's really stupid. But these were also the first orange pickups I ever found. So I bought a pair. And I'm like, oh, cool, orange pickups. And I put them on my Yamaha, and I used them for one thing. I think that was Halloween from King Diamond. So if you want to hear what they sound like, look that up. They're the ones on the left-hand side. So they're also the orange pickups. But they're just too damn loud. They over distort the signal. They're not clean at all. I absolutely hate them. But because they suck, I can't sell them. So I've got them. They're laying around. Maybe I'll find something to put them in one of these days where I can put them like 10 feet from the guitar. But I don't like them. They suck. So, it's fine. You didn't fiddle with pickup switching yet, so you're not an expert here. See what you mean. Right. So, but no. So this brass base plate, let's grab a couple more. It's a nickel silver base plate. Nickel silver base plate. And this is essentially the 2 types you're going to get unless you buy DiMarzio, which are PCB. So PCB, there's no corrosion. It's just, you know, it's essentially silicone. But nice and rigid silicone. So these are Tone Riders. These are their AC2s, and I would put these up against Seymour Duncan anything. I don't care who makes the pickup. I would put these against them. These are that good. They have a remarkable sound and very, very good character. They're about $56 a piece. So roughly, you know, for your set, you're still out basically the same price as a Seymour Duncan single pickup. They're hand wound in England. They're exquisite. They're really, really, really good. And I've had AC4s. I still have AC4s actually. But the AC2s, nice and weak, you know, relatively weak magnet, strong enough to hold on to itself. But nevertheless, they have a really nice sound. They're crisp where you need them to be crisp. They have a singing quality to them. Very nice. I also recommend their Birmingham, which I have personally not tried, but from what I've heard, it's very remarkable. I don't recommend their Rock Song, which is another one that I've bought. And I have that in a guitar that's out in the living room that I still need to change a string on. But I'm not a fan of that. It's too... there's something not quite right with it. I can't put a finger on it, but there's something I just didn't like about it. But I can say for sure, these are fantastic. Their Octane is really good too. That has an Alnico 8 in it. But Tone Rider, let's go take a look. Can still save you some money over Duncans, man. Again, I got nothing against Duncans. They are very, very good. But these are very... Oh, and a new pickup I hadn't seen before. The Firepower. Ooh. 15K ceramic bar. All right. So that should be cheaper than it is because ceramic, it's inexpensive. Ferrite magnets are cheap. So anyway. But 15K. The inductance is 7.7. It's loud. Cool. Neat. But, you know, the classic series, the Birmingham is one of the ones I was discussing. It's Alnico 5, but it's true single coil when you tap it. And Generator, I've heard good things about. My choice between the AC4s and the Generator, Well, the AC4 is one, and I don't regret that choice at all. They're very edgy, they're remarkably clear, and just it had the sound I was looking for. So, and it did. It had the sound I was looking for. Audio clips. They've got lots of those. So, anyway. So I guess I would say that the two pickup types, or the two pickups that I've ever bought that I would never buy again, were both Dragonfires. And in comparison, these were less than about a quarter of the price of what those were. Well, less than half for sure. Right now at $14, I mean, you can't really sneeze at that. Did I, There it is. Unplugged slightly. Uh-oh. Ole. Yngwie does it. Something like that. Haven't done that for a long time. My suggestion then would be, oddly enough, DiMarzio's. Their SH2s, for instance. Yngwie used those for years. Of course, he's got signatures right now from Seymour Duncan, and you'll never really hear me tout the overpriced cult-like status of Bare Knuckles. They're good. They're very quiet. They have high fidelity, but my problem with them, of course, is mainly in the price category. But they've got one that sounds remarkably good in the Yngwie category. High recommendations. The pickups that I like that are single coil are not high output by trade. I like to use these for like, all right, so think of it this way. For me, I will have guitars that will get various sounds that I can use to make various sounds that I want to make specific, like these can do a lot of different things, but I don't have there's no tone knobs. I don't like tone knobs. I even try to buy guitars without them. That one's got one. I mean, my Jacksons are going to have some, but I never use them. So I want my pickups to have variety and vary a little bit. They're all going to sound pretty similar because I'm playing them, but I want characters to change a little bit here and there. So I've got 3 guitars with nothing but single coils in them. One of which is my Nick Johnston. They are very dark sounding single coils. Very good. My real, fave would be, let's go to eBay and take a look at Guitar Madness. I've got some Alnico 2s in there. Let's see. Yes, Guitar Madness. Pickups. And I can recommend these any day of the week. They're just so stupidly good. It ain't funny. Yeah, they're in here somewhere. But anyway, yeah, if you go through it, you'll essentially, like these. These are the 62 Alnico 5s. Mine would be the 62 Alnico 2s. And they just sound so good, man. They just sound so good. I did use those on the Diary of a Madman video. Very good stuff. All right, let's see here. All right, a couple of things. For those who may or may not be aware, our friend from Poland, Black Pilla Jolokia. There you go again. Julka, excuse me. I'll just call her Julia. We have a new tune, mostly her, but I got to contribute just a little bit of guitar on it, so I'm very, very excited about it. High recommendation. Go and check it out. It's a basher. It's something that's it's very club oriented. I love it. I gotta say, it's my favorite thing that she's done, and that she let me play on it. I'm very, very happy about that. So, however, it's not really a however. The original thing that I wrote for it had a very Paul Gilbert-esque. Oh, there's this thing again. There we go. This is a cable issue. Let me do this here. Yeah, it's a cabling issue. All right, so there. Something like that. You know, and that was all picked and all like, I'm just trying to keep up, but that was essentially what I did. And it's gone. It's no longer there. Let's go through that though. It does go to a very nifty little lead piece. You turn that up a little. That's where that would have been. It's got a nice little lead to it. High recommendations. Do check it out. And for crying out loud, people need to subscribe to this person. Now, I don't know them personally, but very creative, I gotta say. Lots of interesting music. And I don't speak anything but English, but I can still dig it. Yeah, that's the international quality of music for y'all. So at any rate, yeah, Batsy Matrix, I'm assuming had something to do with bots and the Matrix. Let's see here. Going on with that. I would like to point out some stuff that I think that a lot of guitar players overlook when it comes to, you know, learning what's what. You have to. We're all kind of. Every one of us, in one way or another, has gone to some sort of an educational facility, public, private, whatever. But we're all taught and trained from when we're very young to look to authority. And when you're just beginning playing guitar, you'll find that some authorities come from things like magazine sources, even if those magazines are online magazines. So you begin to wake up to this world of music that may not be your style of music, because to you, you're just wanting to learn guitar. The problem with it is these magazines are kind of like gatekeepers. And not that there's something intrinsically wrong with gatekeeping. My thing would be, I would like to gatekeep 90% of the stuff that's in here out. Yeah, because most of the things that these Guitar World or Guitar Player articles, Guitar for the Practicing Musician no longer exists, of course, but most of these things only teach you about, like, here's a pentatonic scale. Here's how to use a pentatonic scale in a way that you might not have heard. Well, okay, and here's another way to use it in a way that you may not have heard. It's very creative. Really, really irritates me that they basically drone on pentatonic players. But it's also a very specific type. It's like the stuff that's acceptable in Rolling Stone, and you know, they've never lost, since the 80s went away, they've never lost the kind of grunge recidivist blues player mindset of purity, and it really, really bothers me. Green horns. Oh my God, it certainly does. So that's great. Hey, thanks, Jackson. So that's fantastic. That's great. Yeah. They don't have anybody that plays like this. They might have one or two here and there, just kind of peppered about, but it's only like to placate to the people who actually want to learn that style. The rest of everybody is just kind of like, the pentatonic. And it just bothers the crap out of me, right? So right here, Billy Gibbons. I like ZZ Top. Okay, I do. I like ZZ. Dave, the Killers. Okay, I mean, I guess there's some interesting things about Killers. I suppose, rhythmically speaking. So, oh, stuff. But you know, is that Pete Townsend? Am I wrong here? So I have no idea, but it kind of looks like him. Okay, so we got one metal guy, one so far, Scott Ian, and he's still very popular. Let's go up a little bit. Blues guy. I have no fucking idea. Just had to say it that way. The Ramones, one chord wonders. Here we go. I have no idea. Blues guys. Well, not so much. Astrophysicist blues guy. But, bass guy. What the hell? This is a guitar magazine. Get the bass out of there. You have Bass Player magazine for those kind of things. Mike Rutherford. All right. Now, that guy's a multi-instrumentalist. Absolutely fantastic. And very, very good Genesis. Okay. Got it. That's a redeeming quality. But hasn't really been a household name since the 1980s now, has he? So, Jeff Beck. Again, quality player. Inventive. Very good. Devin Townsend. I don't like him. Other people do. But I'm not going to just go ahead and say he's not the blues guy. So we have a few people here that are like, all right, I can get behind that. Although it's Genesis who's going to read about that. Jeff Beck. Okay, great. Everybody knows Jeff, and he did start out as kind of the blues guy, but he went other ways. All right, now we got bluesy funk, R&B. Pat Metheny, finally, jazz guy. Very good. Now, yes, we're going up. Steve Lukather deserves all the accolades he'll ever get, in his life and afterwards. Who the hell is this guy? Playing Freebird, pentatonic player. More pentatonic player, Leslie West. Fuzz. Who the wants to use fuzz? Stop using fuzz. It doesn't sound good. It's never sounded good. You want cleaner sound. If you're going to play the blues, have a nice sound. Have a nice sound. Fuzz is not a good sound. It's made to emulate the sound of a broken speaker, which does not sound good. It comes close to a bit crusher. It doesn't sound good. Anyway, overdrive sounds good. Clean, distortion sounds good. That's good. Anyway, somewhat pentatonic player. I'm never going to give George Benson a bad time, actually. He's a really great guitar player. So, pentatonic based, yes, but he's got some runs that'll just run your little fingers off. It's great. But Jethro Tull, I wouldn't call him blues based necessarily. And who the is this? Also, who cares? Can you learn from these people? What's the point about this? Is the point of improving your guitar playing and expanding your horizons? Or is the point to keep you confined to a little box and never let you out of it? I think it's okay to have different musical tastes than this. I really do. But I really wish that they would write about something other than this crap. So, and we could do the same thing. Guitar World and Guitar Player are essentially the same magazine. So, good Lord have mercy. So, yeah. That's all fun and games, isn't it? Switch from this tiny little pick. I don't need that much gain, though. In fact, let's take the gain away, shall we? Just keep a little overdrive on. There we go. Little bit of breakup. That is pretty loud, though, got to admit. anyway, my point with the guitar thing, as far as like the Guitar Player magazine and kind of giving him the business today, isn't that that's what I'm finding today. It's what you'd find every day. And every day for the last maybe 30 years. It's the same crap over and over. Oh, yeah, I don't really care for it. Oh, really? Interesting. But yeah, it's the same crap, though, again and again and again for 30 years. They don't really bring in any new players. Like, you don't see them talking about like Daniele Guittardo, like, ever. You don't see him, why? Why are they keeping him out of the literature, domain? The guy slays. He's absolutely fantastic. But you get the same rehashed players again and again and again. And, you can call them the greats. I always stop for a Randy Rhoads interview, for instance. The uncovered interview. He said 2 words you never heard him say before. Oh, really? I'm going to read that. And so I do. But they always stick to the same group, and it's just the same thing. It repeats itself like 99.9 KISW, thanks to Clear Channel Radio taking over for the DJs and programming everything in. You get AC/DC once an hour, every hour. It's the same thing over and over and over again. It just drives me nuts. It's just got to stop. I mean, have some realization that there are other players and that, other styles matter. People want to learn other things too. It's not just a matter of, the whole it's not made for you argument, which is kind of bullshit. That is really loud. Let me unloud that. So this is boosted twice. I've got the boost on for the clean channel, and I've got my little plumes with just a little bit of gain to it. So, I am losing you. Excuse me. What's the point I'm making? Okay, so the point that I'm making about guitar magazines in general is that they have been locked in the same loop of player types for the last 30 years. Yeah, they usually have a lot of advertisements, but that's essentially what those are. That's how they pay for themselves, is the ads. But, and then they'll have a few lessons here and there, which keep you coming back because they'll teach you like 3 licks in a lesson, or maybe, they might talk about, and this is the, but they don't really tell you anything about it, whatever that was melodic minor. But actually, they might tell you that if you return this in the same way down as you go up, well, then that's called the jazz minor now, because Berkeley figured that, playing it the same way both directions should have its own name. So melodic minor became jazz minor. But, they'll say something like, play it over a 13. Well, that's great. Okay. Actually, it should be something like that, but, or even something like that, but. That kind of stuff. But that's my problem with guitar magazines. And I have to go. I have to look. I'm a child of guitar magazines. I got my first real 6-string over at the Five and Dime, played it till my fingers bled. It was the summer of 1988. 1988, I got my first Guitar Player magazine, my first Guitar World magazine, and my first Guitar for the Practicing Musician magazine, of which, and this was probably in October, November, and December, roughly, for each of them, out of which the Guitar for the Practicing Musician and then Guitar World at some point became ones that I actually subscribed to. And I kept my Guitar for the Practicing Musician magazine, subscription for probably 4 years before they went totally into the loop cycle that I'm talking about now. It was 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. You were born when I was 17 years old. I had been playing by the time you were born for 3 years. And I took, technically, the 3rd year off. I didn't mean to, but I did because I had a girl who was jealous of inanimate objects in the time that I spent with them. So, that's a fun story. No, I was born in 1974. Yeah, wow, I say the same thing every day when I look in the mirror. Well, I am pretty thankful for it. I don't feel young, but you know, it's okay. Yeah. Well, what is that? Black Pill Julia thought I was 37, which maybe the camera just treats me nice. You know, I don't know. But I think I look a lot older than I come off. So, but I've been around the block, man. I've seen some things and some stuff. No. How do I tell you this? I think it's I don't want to mislead you, but I think that you should always look at things like, how do I play the next thing I'm going to play in a way that would make what I'm playing now translate to that more efficiently. So if I'm going to be playing something like, you know, play something like that, and then I'm going to translate to, I don't know. It's on the spot. Make something up. So no. I guess that's just a matter of experience. Okay. So in general, finger picking rules usually omit the pinky, so it doesn't get a lot of a workout. My suggestion is to use it if it's there. So like with Diary of a Madman, for instance, I'm going to use that because it's right there. I've got 5 fingers, opposable thumb, of course. It snaps every once in a while. And you got 5 strings to play. So wouldn't that just be neat? Wouldn't it be neat if I just played the whole thing that way? I really miss my nails. So let me give you a couple of examples that aren't that. That's just arpeggiation. So that whole, you know... What, again, it all depends on what you're playing. So the pinky is moderately tough to develop, but it's not impossible. You just have to use it. Pinky. I really like Renaissance music and, you know, medieval type of stuff. So there you go. Well, it depends on the sound that you want to make. So if we're talking about acoustics, I think you have to use slightly different techniques than on an electric, because an electric you can kind of manipulate the sound a little bit, and it takes much less effort to make the sound harsher or softer. So soft. How did that go? How did that go? I think he goes here. Right? So if I wanted to do it hard, I don't have to pick too hard to do that. I just move my fingers kind of inwards a little towards the body of the guitar. Yeah. an acoustic and show you the difference. So for this, there's a lot more kind of generations of dynamics. You can get much louder by picking in different places. Actual mechanical force. Yeah. But you also have so the sound is different. If I was using one of these, you could probably hear it better. I like to play with nails. I just don't have any. Like I said, I've been doing more of a... And that's a no-nail situation, so... That... Much brighter sound, much less bass. Much more mid-range. But you can hear that. Let me do this. There we go. Not really into the country thing, but... So when I was probably 30, I quit playing electric and I decided to go back and start playing classical again. Because I started out as a guitarist that wanted to play classical. And, I wasn't a guitarist at the time. I just wanted to play classical guitar. I was really in love with that sound. That was the thing that really drove me to want to play. And so I picked up a guitar, but I listened to thrash metal too. So, I picked up a guitar and I took some lessons, and then 3 months later I got an electric, and there was just no looking back. So, pull-offs, legato, sustain is more difficult to pull off on an acoustic. I'll get to your answers though. The thing is, when I was about 30, I decided to put the electric back. I sold most of my gear and most of my guitar stuff. And, guitars. And I just concentrated on playing seriously, really seeing if I could figure out how to play nylon string. And that after the year was done, I bought another electric. And I found that my technique had expanded beyond expectation. My left hand was in a much better shape than it ever was. But my right hand, I could do hybrid picking, where it's... Or, all that kind of stuff. I could do it, and I never was able to before. The classical drive that I had drove me to that. So, as far as pull-offs and legato and sustain, let me go back down to here. So sustain, this is what you're going to get. And there it's gone. There's really not a lot on a fretted note. Not when you're shaking it. Otherwise, it will last for a lot longer than you might expect. But the higher notes are never going to sustain as long because of the way these work. So electrics don't really have that problem. But the way these work... Yeah, that sounds like I'm trying to play electric on it. Right. Because essentially that's what I was doing. This, though, I want you to think of this here. When you pick a string, what happens? Well, I'm creating a transverse wave. This is a wave that is going across here at a specific, like this, at 440 hertz. That's 440 times a second. It's traveling back and forth on, this string. But how is it making the sound? This transverse wave is going into this bridge. The bridge is rocking back and forth with the wave in conjunction with that hertz, all right? So that 440 times a second, it's vibrating back and forth. that vibration turns that transverse wave into a standing wave by this pushing that wiggle into this top. That top then vibrates approximately the same rate, and it pushes air down and out of the instrument. So that's how these work. The higher you go, the less vibration you're going to get out of these things. So even if it's a bright sounding guitar, this, it's not going to last as long as this. It just won't. It never will. So, now legato. Yeah, I mean, it is a little different. The hammer from nowhere. Sorry. It's different, right? So as far as the let's see, pull-offs, it's not so hard, but you have to play harder because you are using your fingers down here as a pick as opposed to here. That's picking. So you have to play a little harder to get the sound to come out. Well, who is that? Oh. Streaming. Danny. So So for acoustics, you want to play to their strengths. What are they really good at doing? What kind of sounds do they make really, really well? How easily do they go out of tune? You may ask. Oh, the model of this guitar, it's the Breedlove Discovery Series. It's $400. Who could pass that up? It's great. So, it's very, very, you know. Plays well. There's no plug-in. You'd have to get yourself a pickup for it. It's like a sound hole pickup, or you can get one, because it has this, you can take this out, ream the hole, and get one of those end pin jacks. Probably like a under saddle pickup that will go with that, like from LR Bags or something like that. That'd work pretty well. These are good guitars. I have played this on several tunes so far. I don't want to. Let's try something else. Let's go back to here. It's a nice guitar, I'm telling you. This actually is too, by the way. So this is a good $100 right there. This guitar costs as much as one Shure SM57. So it's all in how you want to manage your funds, I guess. But and the strings really want to move around on me. But this is not supposed to be tuned right there. It's supposed to be tuned much higher. You like? Here we go. The thing about these are, I like just tuning these to sound. Not just, like... Alright, that's nice. Bach. Yeah, okay, it works. It's essentially a toy, right? Okay. But if you start messing with the tunings, so like Dadgad, right? The changing things. There it is. It's just great. It makes you come up with an awful lot of different stuff. So, and you could even mess around a little bit further with it. Find out where your Lydian notes are, right? No? You get the general idea. It's good for making stuff up. I think. Unison. It's terrible. Terrible. I should have done that. But you see, with an acoustic, you can just mess around with the tunings all the time. Moving it here, I don't like that right now. I'll move it like this. Change some stuff. But it's your prerogative. You can totally change some stuff. And you should. That's fun. You know what else is fun? Going back to the guitar I started with today. And then there's the 12 strings. Oh, we could talk about 12 strings too. 12 strings like right back there. You're not sure that was terrible. Yeah, it might have been terrible. It might have sounded nice. It's perspective. I'll tell you what, though, they're very small and very, very, very wanting to fall over at a drop of a hat. There we go. You just hang out right there. You'll be fine. All right. Let's see. Where are we now? Again, Duncan's came with them. Don't sound bad at all. I like them very much. And in comparison, yeah, legato is much easier on an electric. But it could be harder if your action was super high and you had big thick strings and the nut wasn't properly cut. You know, your frets were damaged or something like that. So you see, so I can explain this. When I quit electric and went to classical, I discovered something that I was not really aware of, is that it's a guitar, but it's not the same instrument. It's not meant to be approached or played in the same way. So when you're playing like classical pieces, like from Robert Device, early stuff from like John Dowland, stuff like that, you're going to figure out very quickly that the approach you have to take to improve on that instrument is not the approach that you would take to, have I ever had fixed frets that were coming loose out of one end of the fretboard? Happened in your Donner. I'm terribly sorry to hear that. I have never had that problem of fret creep. I've had the problem with fret sprout, where they kind of come out the other end, but as far as like creeping out of the fretboard because of expansion and contraction caused by temperature and humidity fluctuations, I've never had that. My buddy Chris, on the other hand, over in not North Carolina, that's where Bill's at, Massachusetts, has that all the time. Every time he brings in a guitar to his house, and he's always finding at least one or two frets that are too high. They have these things called fret hammers. I know because my daughter ruined one of mine. I love her to death. I'm going to tell you that now. She's still alive. But this is a fret hammer. A fretting hammer. You may notice some writing on it. It says, "as do not use," or actually it says "do not use," because she ruined it. Well, how do you ruin a fret hammer? Well, this is brass. It's a dead blow hammer. There's a little bit of shot on the inside that allows you to hit without a bounce. And that's what you want for your frets that are creeping up, to get the strings out of the way and to knock them back in. But you want to use the brass side for mostly what you're doing, because the brass is softer than the metal here, right? Now, yeah, it's not. This is her hammer now because she was using it to hammer in tacks while she was building some bookshelves. And she just thought it was a fancy hammer. It's a $50 hammer. Yes, it's a fancy hammer. So she ordered me another one, and I should have that sometime this week. But she won't be touching that, and she'll be getting this as a gift because I can't use it anymore. So, yeah. Softer metal or not, the chips put in here from using it as a tack hammer basically make it much more likely that I'll damage my frets with this. So, yeah. Oh, no. Don't worry about a thing. They can take it. They can. You want to worry about how hard you're hitting, yes, but you have to hit hard enough to actually knock it in. And it doesn't take as much force as you think. And if you hit too hard, you won't. I'm just telling you that you won't, because you're approaching it with some respect, right? So, okay. If you're going to replace the fret entirely, yeah, go ahead and put some glue in it. But you won't need glue underneath it first. So what you will do is you'll hammer the fret down. And then if you don't have I put a little bit of like paste wax on the side here. If your fret ends are hidden, then you don't have to worry about too much. You know, just put the paste wax on there. And what you'll do is you'll dab very thin super glue down the side of it, like here, for instance, and it'll run down, and it should help it stay in place. It's not a perfect, thing, but it does help. So there's that. Also keeps it from moving around. There's lots of videos out there about doing exactly that. I learned how to build guitars just by watching YouTube. I mean, that says something, I mean, I had some. I used to be a woodworker in a former life for like 10 years. I worked in wood shops, and so I knew a little bit about like how to do stuff, but I didn't know about like actually what's required for doing certain things guitaristically speaking. So there are cheaper alternatives than that $50 one, but that's from StewMac, and it's a dang good hammer. That hammer was with me for every single guitar I've ever built. It was with me for the first fret jobs I ever did, as far as like refretting guitars are concerned. I loved that hammer. Now I have to get another one, but it's on its way. We down at the bottom of the sea yet? Talked a lot about Call of Cthulhu, the video game. I have that. That would be. How did that go? Give me a minute. Besides that whole. That's it. About the right sound for it too. So let's see, how did that go? I really don't remember. That's it. It's so long since I played this. Yeah, or well, something like that. And then there's your Call of Cthulhu. Yeah, but yeah, you pick my brain, get it moving a little bit, make the juices flow, and oh yes, that's right. I used to know how to play that. I haven't played it for a long time. So, but yeah, that's another one you could do this way. Use your pick. It's the way it's meant to be played. Oh, hey, dude! Well, I'll tell you what's up. I played this earlier, but that's what's up. Howdy! There we go. Actually, there was something I was doing a little while ago, this last week, that had me thinking kind of hard. Anybody ever just lay down some like jam tracks and stuff to kind of learn the national anthem guitar by ear? Good. Have you ever tried doing something called oh shoot, what is that called? A false cadence. So you expect, right? It's a big resounding E. Take that and move it down a sixth. Pretty neat, huh? So instead of here, then, which would be, once again, with the B. By the way, that's a Lydian note. So they literally change keys anyway. But so here, E again. Now, how would we make that a little more minor? So let's move it to G. G major. It just sounds fantastic. Okay, so move it down to the sixth, right? Okay, we'll see. One fun thing to do is try to learn to pick up any and all sounds of music. Yes, I agree with you completely. So, for instance, this sound. See if I can make one that rings a little bit. It's about an F. But let's see. If I ever wanted to have my hair blown back. Sir, you may have not noticed this, but I am rather aerodynamic when it comes to the hair department right now. First fragment, Emergence, Phil Tugas. So his use of tremolo arm, the solos is groundbreaking. Okay, sold me, Chief. I'll check it out right now. Let's find out what I can do. First fragment. But in the meantime, while I'm opening up a deal for pasting and searching. All right, we're going to hold off on this for just a second. I'm going to keep going with what I was saying. Holy smokes. I think I will allow my hair to grow back tonight just to go ahead and now actually, before I continue on with this, I'm going to say that, again, music taste being completely subjective, I am hearing a lot of like super high speed stuffs lately that are very melodic and cool. They need to keep this up because my motto is play faster. It's a wonderful thing. There are, however, secondary types that are kind of holdovers from the Pantera kind of rhythm over melody schools. And I heard one today, and the guy kind of reminded me of Max Headroom. I don't know if you guys remember that or not. That's an 80s thing right there. But yeah, so but it was almost like an exercise in how to memorize rhythm segments. There was no melody whatsoever to it except for an occasional, you get a harmonic screaming out here somewhere, some quick thing, but no real melody. It drives me nuts. It's just an exercise in memorization and math. That's it. I can't do it. This has melody. It already started with harmony. All right. So let's go ahead and make Kirk feel like he can't play guitar. Wow. Does it start soon? Well, we got a long way to go. Let's skip. I have a feeling it's coming. Yes, I agree with your sentiment entirely there, Oz. Jeez is right. So there's a couple of things I want to say about that. I actually think that's within my technique, but I don't have that kind of energy anymore. No, there's some stuff I've learned about producing instruments, and I would like to say that this is not a this is not like a live done. Okay, so this is a playthrough of something he knows how to play, yes. But he's not actually playing it like into an amp here. So there's reasons for my knowing that is that the tapping thing with absolutely no other notes ringing but this, you know, nothing else. I know that was pretty clean, wasn't it? But is done in a studio with something like this wrapped around here. So just as a mute, or it could be done by somebody just holding on down here. So, you know, you don't have to worry about it. So, but, yes, Holy Mother of Melvin indeed. Right, yeah. So, yeah, the solo was absolutely fantastic. But this is not to take away from the fact that the guy actually did all this stuff. The majority of the things that I have to say is circling around the sounds that I heard coming out. He obviously listened to Necrophagist, because that's like, if you heard Necrophagist's first album and all the leads on that, it's almost like, there you go. That's his Necrophagist. So it isn't anything like I haven't heard before. He just plays it really, really good. So yeah, I don't want to quit yet, but I do wish that I had 20 less years on me so I could have that kind of energy again, because man, I was an unstoppable force when I drank like 4 pots of coffee a day. So it's just insane. But that whole thing with the, you know, type of thing and all the, what is that? You know, deal. All that, I feel confident that I can at least, you know, do stuff like that, which means that I might learn it just to do it. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about right there. The energy is insane, and the endurance is insane. It's not that it can't be done, because he can do it, and that should at least set a precedent for you right there. If you like something and it seems impossible, knowing first and foremost that somebody else has done it means that it's possible. And therefore, it's more likely that you can play it than not. Now, it of course all depends. If you're missing all of your fingers, you're going to have a harder time playing this. But, so, I mean, aside from like physical limitations and, excuse me, in my case, age limitations about, you know, not wanting to go, you know, into cardiac arrest or something like that after, you know, trying to run this marathon. Oh, and a Jag Panzer shirt. No kidding. Their first guitarist, Joey Tofolo, is a favorite of mine. So, but, yeah, no, it's absolutely outstanding stuff. And I got a lot of comments, too. Hey there, Tim, by the way. How you doing? So, but, yeah, no, the guy's a hell of a player. Let's talk about, where was I before? Let me just kind of scroll up here a little bit. Just what came to mind. Playing Call of Cthulhu. Okay, we should learn national anthem. Okay. So what I was talking about was false cadences. So a cadence is kind of like where chords go. You know, like Louie Louie, for instance, as it played in minor key, major, you know. Okay, so you have a melody that goes over that. Something like that. So if we were to do never done this before. I am hearing the wind outside. We're supposed to get a good one tonight, like I said before. I'm not expecting to get it be really strong until like 2 o'clock in the morning, but still. I did not get around to waxing the pickups, Tim. Thanks for asking. They are still here. They are still unwaxed. But they sound really good in my studio, so there's no... If I don't want to take them to practice, there's no reason for me to do it. But I do need to. Because I don't want to have the limitation on me. But they sound really good as they are. So the Louie Louie thing. Let's do a false cadence on Louie Louie. So when I say a false cadence, instead of it going like from where it's going... Now it's just tradition in a false cadence kind of a thing to take one of the chords, usually it's the 1, and then play a sixth of it. So in this case it'll be F. So why is that a 6? It's 3 notes down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and it's usually a minor 6, by the way. So that's a flat 6, major here, 6, in the scale. So if I did... See how that changes things? It opens it up. It's a very thematic type of deal, right? So, down to the 5th. You can reharmonize things in that kind of a manner too. If I wanted to do the Louie Louie thing kind of sad, I could do it with the 6th here. I mean, I could really reharmonize it, but yeah. We'll still do it 1, 4, 5 as best as possible. But you know, just reharmonization is not something that I've done a lot, but I have done a bit, and it's fun. It's just an exercise. When I say it's just an exercise, it's more of a mental exercise than anything else. All right, if I'm playing this in this key, where would it be? Well, all right, let's figure that out. Or taking something that you already know what is, like, and then playing instead. You know, what's an inversion of that? So here instead. No? Oh, I should go here. So and those are just playing inversions. So, by the way, what else is Louie Louie? Almost all of Van Halen and some Ozzy. So, it's all Louie Louie, man. Everything's Louie Louie. Thanks, Kevin, wherever you are. It's all Louie Louie. Everything's always Louie Louie. So listening to here, though. Opeth's Heir Apparent would be interesting to me. Fretless bass, no kidding. All right. So let's find something interesting here. So you mentioned this guy. I'm going to mention this guy. If I can think of his name. I've got a headache tonight. It's a real good one. I think it's the low pressure system that's coming in there. You know how low pressure kind of gives people headaches sometimes. Well, sometimes I'm one of those some people. Let's see. Neobliviscaris. Now, there's some parts about that remind me of Citadel. This is an album that needs to be taken as a whole. I discovered this in 2016, so it was my favorite album of 2016 that came out in 2014. But it has some ridiculous musicianship. Now, they let go their bass player, which I think was a mistake. He was the soul of the band, and I think that the story that I at least understood at the time that gave me such a problem with it was that they fired him because it would make the band look bad if he was in the band because he had a domestic assault on his record, and he did time for it. He was also in therapy for it. Screw him. He was awesome. So it's an interesting group. They have a death metal vocalist. They have a clean vocalist who also plays violin, which you're going to hear here. They've got all sorts of stuff. Anyway, let me get to a solo here that I would like you to hear that is absolutely fantastic in its own right. And I passed it. Yes, death metal meets Natalie Merchant. The solo's right after this lead. Can I play it? Never tried to learn it. I have too much respect for it. Here comes the lead. That is a violin. This is a guitar. And he's a lefty. The drummer is sublime. So good. They didn't have a bad musician in this band. Isn't that amazing? It is worth a listen. All 47 minutes, 55 seconds. You take it as a whole. It is a roller coaster of emotion. It is fantastic. Some of the greatest music I've ever heard. As long as you're into metal, this works. Oh, it's outstanding. Just outstanding. Wait till you hear the bass in a second. I'll let it play through the bass bit because it's really good. Tim, you'll appreciate this. So. Now, this is one of my top 10 albums of, like, perfect albums. They nailed this one. Violin. Very shortly. Yep, see? Then, now for the metalheads amongst us. perfectly picked tremolo, you know. Yeah, perfect. Small pause, and then, yeah. You gotta admit, that's something else. And then... So I'm going to stop right there. I'm just going to say it ends in the most epic way possible. You'll never imagine it. It's fantastic. Now, I discovered these guys in 2016. I think 2016 was the last year that we had something on the internet, and I mourn its passing, called Stumble Upon. I literally stumbled upon this band doing like heavy metal and guitar videos. Just stumble, 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 stumble. And then I'm like, I didn't know why I didn't just pass them up. But I wasn't interested, really. I really, really wasn't. But every time they played something, and it started out this last little bit here. In fact, this was the first tune that I heard from them. So, you know, you heard the old... Aha. That. So I'm like, all right, that's pretty common. And then I'd hear a little bit more stuff from it. Yeah, a little more all right, good, no, it's fine. Then the bass came in, or then I'd hear the plunks, and I'm thinking, they got a violin. All right, I'm gonna stick around for a little bit more. Then the bass started. I'm like, all right. So they're prog. It still sounds pretty good. Then the roar, you know, the whole, you know, yeah, whatever. That whole thing. I'm like, all right, so they're kind of black metal. All right, fine. We'll have a listen. And then the came in, and I just thought, holy crap. You know, I did not expect that. I kind of expected it. I didn't really. But what I really didn't expect is for them to go slow after that. And I thought, well, there's really something special about these guys. I went ahead and I listened to the rest of it, and I was surprised the whole time. Now, I am not an easy one to surprise. I'm just not. I'm not even that easy to impress. I've been around the block a long time, and I'm jaded. I just am. I've seen a lot of things and some stuff, man. So what they did was surprise me for the 5-6 minutes I was listening to that song. There was a violin solo. I was really impressed. I bought the album. I was really, really impressed. And I probably didn't take that out of my stereo for a good 2 years until... I guess it was at least a year. I had a cat that died. So, you know, I'm just getting back into this now. But, you know, the funny thing about it, the music didn't kill the cat. She was old. She was 19. But, I don't know. She was my baby. And all the music that I was listening to near the time of her demise stuck with me and just made me think of her. I didn't like that. Hey, dude, take care of yourself, Tim. I'll be seeing you at practice, man. So, yeah, no, it is on the level well, so now Children of Bodom is their own thing. That's a tough one, dude. On a musician level, these guys are right there, but they're different. They're not the same thing, you know, so it's not an apples to orange comparison. It's not fair. It's like brick versus cheese, you know, and I'm not saying cheese in a bad way. I'm just saying how different these two things are. This takes you on a journey from start to finish. It's a one concept album, but it'll take you highs, lows, melodic grandeur, and Children of Bodom just want to bite your head off. So, yeah, while playing Yngwie licks or harmonizing with the keyboard player, which they always did really, really well. The funny thing about COB is that I really relate to Alexei Leho. Or I did. He's dead now, you know. But I really, you know, related to him quite a bit. No, they're just Australians. They happen to be a super group of extremely good musicians that found each other. I don't know much about their history or their backstory, but I will tell you that Mr. Charles, who is their clean vocalist and violinist, is their PR guy. You can talk to him on Facebook. He's a nice dude. So yeah. Anyway, what was I going to play? I was going to play something, but Dream Theater. They have obviously been influenced by him. Definitely. Well, they should have gone, I think, more places because most of the time when I bring these guys up, most people have not heard of them. And like I said, if I didn't stumble upon them, which again, stumble upon should be here again. I mean, they were awesome. Like, no, just use Reddit. No, Reddit's a raging hellscape. Stay off of Reddit. Reddit's terrible. Stumble upon was just fabulous. I mean, it was great. I had 300,000 stumbles. I had 5,000 discoveries. You know, for other people to stumble on. I was a good user. I was Physics 102 because I couldn't remember the password for Physics 101. Oh well, life goes on. But no, I used that incessantly from like 2007 or 8 all the way to 2017 when it went away. So real sad that it went away though. It was so awesome. Dream Theater, I like Dream Theater. I'm not obsessed with Dream Theater. I don't think Dream Theater is the same band as it was, and it's not. Everybody grows and does their own thing, but I'm personally, I like their first. That's not true. I like the second and third album they've done. I was going to say their first 2 albums, but it's the first 2 albums they were known for. You know, When Dream and Day Unite was their first album. I like the Yitzy Jam on that. But I didn't really care for their first singer. James LaBrie was pretty great for those first 2 albums. But what it really, you know, when I was talking about the bass player here, his name was Cygnus, by the way. He was the soul of the band. I think the soul of Dream Theater was Kevin. And when he left to do his own thing, Dream Theater kind of sputtered around in circles for a while, trying to be a caricature of themselves. I think they've put themselves back together pretty well recently. I mean, Portnoy's back in the band and it sounds good, but if Kevin's still out of the band, it's not a band I'm interested in listening to, really. And that's saying a lot. But and Petrucci's great, man. He's the man. He's a very, very, and if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have some of the technique that I have thanks to his video, you know, in Rock Discipline. This whole thing about, you know, that, you know, going up. I can't play it right now, damn it. That kind of thing, you know, just, but it's this literal. Something like that. I don't remember how it went after that. I really don't remember how it went, but essentially that was, you know. Wait a minute. How did that go? Something like that. Yeah, it was really, really great. Oh, the chromatic stuff. Yes, very, very good. But take it around. Don't just do exactly what he tells you to do. So the point from Marty Friedman is to take whatever that you know and add stuff to it. So, you know, make it unique, make it original, make it a little different, and just expand your mind with the variations that you can come up with. So, like for this, for instance, that, I really liked that. And I'm like, you know, I can take this and do that here. You could use that as a turnaround anywhere you wanted to go. You could do it backwards, too. And, you know, it'd be great. So, till the verse riff ends, then it can breathe easy. Oh, it's that, oh, Master of Puppets! Oh, okay. Well, you remember what I was saying about the down picking. The motion of the down pick isn't straight down. It's kind of inward. Slow-mo. You get the point. You know what? I'm going to give myself a little gain. Maybe. Come on. Oh, ah. There it is. Oh, that's much quieter. I'm all wrapped around my chair. How did that go? So there's a thing about that I have to talk about. I have to. Well, that's good. That's good because, but I mean, for many reasons, it's good. But I would like to introduce you to an idea that your ups and your downstrokes should be equal when you want them to be. It should also not be equal when you don't want them to be. So it's a matter of being able to own that kind of thing. So if I wanted my downstrokes to always be subservient, so to speak, to my upstrokes, like downstrokes, upstrokes being louder. I want to be able to do that, right? So, but just know that there are other things that you can do when you get bored after, I mean, because Master of Puppets is an exercise. What is that? Yeah, so down pick. Okay, so with that, when you get to the verse riff, when you get bored with that, know that you can mess around with it. Straight. You can mess around with the rhythms and have a good time with it. Make it your own. But, I mean, it's never going to be your own. It's Metallica's Master of Puppets, obviously. But, I mean, you get to, you do that. Yeah, don't tense at the elbows. So, try not to do that. There's this thing about, like, chi focusing. And I can't really say that with any real authority, by the way. I haven't done any kind of deep dive study into it. But I know a little bit about it. But if you place your focus on where you want to tense up, you will. And if you can focus on relaxing and place your focus on that, that helps with that too. So for me, I tend to tense up right around in here, and probably for good reason, going back and forth with the... will make me tense a little. More of this. I'm a little tense. I shouldn't be, but I am. But what makes me better at that part is when I can concentrate on trying to not pick in a wider area than I have to. Like never really leaving the string. So... I am not yet. It's focus, right? That's all it is right there. And being mindful, right? I am trying not to leave the string with my pick. So I pick and try not to go farther than I have to. And to do that, scraping literally over the top of it. Let's say if this is a pick. All right, let me get big here. Woo, scary. I'm using this pick here, and I'm just... there we go. And I'm just scraping over the top of this as if it's a string. But that's essentially what I'm doing. So, trying to get granular. Not really leaving the string. This... is all an extension of that. Yeah, it's Kiko is one of my favorites. So he is insanely efficient. Well, one of the things that he is, by the way, weirdly, he plays with his pick kind of out here, but he is a lefty that learned how to play right-handed. I think it's pretty remarkable. But one of the things that he talks about, that I've heard him talk about at least, is he wanted to basically play everything perfectly. And he was the first guy that I've really heard talk about separating the left and the right hands to play the patterns on the right hand that you would expect, you know, like fours, and then play them here, just picking. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and again and again and again. So that's how he built that efficiency. But I haven't practiced that. But I have practiced with other things, like sweep picking. You know, that, it really, really works. It does work. So maybe I should do the thing. Type of thing. Oh, also, those were sixes. Six is just a third, by the way. You can look at them either way. So, 1, that's a 6, right? Minor 6. But this is a third away from that minor 6. So, it could be a third, if you wanted to call it that. And this here, same. So to me, thirds and sixes are interchangeable. So I mean, one's called a mediant and one's called a submediant, but they're just in the middle. They're in between the fifth and the octave. That's all they are. So that's it. Yeah, fun. I'll tell you what, man. It was good talking to you all night, man. It's been a good night, in spite of my headache. Thanks for all the questions, and you know, I wish you very well. So thanks for coming by. I too am getting out of here because I have a bedtime that is fast approaching, and I have 18 cell spots to set up. I tried to do it today, and then I realized I was reading the instructions wrong, and it looks like I could only do one at a time until I get the first 3 up, and then after I get that up, I can do more. So good times. But at any rate, everybody, have a real good night. Take care of yourselves. Thanks for stopping in. Been good. And be good and play faster and all that kind of good jazz.